I discovered my daughter was stealing from the cancer charity I founded in my husband's name, so I exposed her theft and sent her to prison.
My name is Evangeline Rose Thompson, and at 77 years old, I never imagined that my own daughter would steal money from the cancer charity. I had built in memory of my late husband, but when I discovered that Monica had been embezzling thousands of dollars meant to help cancer patients, I had to choose between protecting my daughter and protecting the people who needed our help.
My husband Raymond had died from pancreatic cancer in 2018 after a brutal 18-month battle that drained our savings and tested our faith, but also showed me how desperately cancer patients and their families needed financial support. During Raymond's illness, we had struggled to pay for experimental treatments that insurance wouldn't cover. We had to sell our car, take out loans against our house, and rely on the kindness of friends and church members to help with basic expenses. Watching Raymond suffer while worrying about money had broken my heart and inspired me to create something that would help other families avoid the same financial devastation. 6 months after Raymond passed away, I used his life insurance money to establish the Raymond Thompson Cancer Support Foundation, a small charity that provided financial assistance to cancer patients who couldn't afford their treatments. I started the foundation with $50,000 and began organizing fundraising events in our community. The first year was difficult because I had no experience running a charity and had to learn about nonprofit regulations, tax requirements, and financial management while still grieving Raymond's death. But the foundation gradually grew as more people learned about our mission. Local businesses began making donations, church groups held fundraisers, and individual community members contributed whatever they could afford. By the third year, the foundation was providing over $100,000 annually in direct assistance to cancer patients, helping them pay for medications, treatments, and basic living expenses while they fought for their lives.
My daughter Monica had been supportive of the foundation from the beginning, helping me organize events, manage paperwork, and coordinate with the families who received our assistance.
Monica was 46 years old and worked as an administrative assistant at a law firm. She was divorced with 2 teenage children and always seemed to struggle financially despite having a steady job. Monica lived in a rental house and frequently asked me for help with her children's expenses, school supplies, clothing, and activities that she claimed she couldn't afford on her salary. I'd always been generous with Monica, helping her pay for her kids' needs because I wanted my grandchildren to have opportunities, even if their mother was financially irresponsible. Monica also volunteered significant time for the foundation, attending board meetings, helping with fundraising events, and managing much of the day-to-day administrative work. Because Monica was so involved in the foundation operations, and because I trusted her completely, I had given her access to the foundation bank accounts so she could process donations and pay bills. Monica had a debit card linked to the foundation checking account and was authorized to write checks up to $5,000 without requiring a co-signature from me. The 3 years this arrangement worked well, Monica handled routine expenses efficiently and the foundation finances remained healthy and growing. But in the 4th year, I began to notice some irregularities in our financial records. The first red flag was that our fundraising income seemed to be increasing, but our available funds for patient assistance were not growing proportionally. We were raising more money than ever before, but somehow had less money available to help cancer patients. I also noticed that some of our regular donors were asking me about contributions they claimed to have made that were not reflected in our records. Mrs. Helen Carter, who had been making monthly donations of $200 for over 2 years, showed me canceled checks proving that she had donated money that was not recorded in our books. Reverend James Williams from the First Baptist Church said his congregation had raised $1,500 for the foundation, but only $750 appeared in our records. When I asked Monica about these discrepancies, she claimed that there must be mistakes in the record keeping and promised to investigate. Monica said she would reconcile all the accounts and provide me with updated financial statements. But weeks passed, and Monica kept making excuses for why the financial review was taking so long. Meanwhile, I continued to receive questions from donors about missing contributions. I decided to conduct my own investigation by requesting bank statements and canceled checks directly from our bank. What I discovered when I reviewed the actual bank records made me physically sick. Monica had been systematically stealing money from the foundation for over 18 months. She had been intercepting cash donations at fundraising events and pocketing the money instead of depositing it in the foundation account. Monica had also been writing unauthorized checks to herself using fake invoices for expenses that were never incurred. She had written checks for office supplies, equipment, and services that the foundation never received, keeping the money for her personal use. Most shocking of all, Monica had been using the foundation debit card to pay for her personal expenses, including groceries, gas, clothing, and entertainment. Over 18 months, Monica had stolen nearly $40,000 from cancer patients who desperately needed financial assistance. The money Monica stole represented treatments that cancer patients could not afford, medications that families had to go without, and hope that was stolen from people who were fighting for their lives. When I confronted Monica with the evidence, she initially tried to deny everything, claiming that there must be accounting errors or bank mistakes. When I showed her the specific transactions and forged invoices, Monica broke down and admitted that she had been taking money from the foundation. Monica claimed that she had only borrowed the money temporarily and that she had planned to pay it back when her financial situation improved. She said that she had been struggling to support her children and that she had convinced herself that taking money from the foundation was justified because she was working so hard as a volunteer. Monica also claimed that she deserved compensation for all the unpaid work she had done for the foundation over the years. But I knew that Monica had stolen money meant to help dying people, and that no excuse could justify what she had done. I told Monica that she had 48 hours to return every penny she had stolen, or I would report her to the police and the state attorney general's office. Monica begged me not to involve law enforcement, claiming that criminal charges would ruin her life and hurt her children. She promised to find a way to repay the money and offered to work extra hours to make up for what she had taken. But I had seen too many families destroyed by cancer to have any sympathy for someone who would steal from people facing life-threatening illnesses. I also realized that Monica had betrayed not just the foundation, but also Raymond's memory by using his name and legacy to cover her theft. The next morning, I called the police and filed a formal complaint against Monica for theft and embezzlement. I also contacted the state attorney general's office, which had jurisdiction over nonprofit organizations, and reported Monica's crimes. Within a week, Monica was arrested and charged with embezzlement, theft, fraud, and abuse of a fiduciary relationship. The investigation revealed that Monica had been even more systematic in her theft than I had initially realized. She had created false donor records to hide missing cash donations. She had forged my signature on checks, and she had manipulated our financial software to conceal unauthorized transactions. Monica had also been lying to me about foundation expenses, claiming that costs were higher than they actually were, so she could justify taking more money. The prosecutor assigned to the case was particularly aggressive because crimes against charitable organizations were considered especially serious under state law. Monica tried to negotiate a plea bargain that would avoid prison time, but the prosecutor refused because of the amount of money involved and the vulnerable population that had been victimized.
During the trial,
I testified about how I had discovered Monica's theft and about the impact her crimes had on cancer patients who had been denied assistance. Several cancer patients and their families also testified about how the stolen money had affected their ability to afford treatments. One woman described how she had been forced to stop chemotherapy because the foundation couldn't provide the financial assistance she had been promised. Another family explained how they had lost their home because they couldn't afford mortgage payments while paying for their son's cancer treatments. A jury was clearly moved by the testimony about how Monica's greed had directly harmed people who were fighting for their lives. Monica was convicted on all charges and sentenced to 6 years in state prison. She was also ordered to pay full restitution, plus penalties and court costs. Monica's children were placed in foster care because she had no family members who could care for them during her incarceration. Monica's ex-husband, who had been paying child support, filed for full custody and successfully argued that Monica was an unfit parent. Monica lost not only her freedom, but also her children and any hope of rebuilding her relationship with them. The scandal surrounding Monica's arrest and conviction made local news and severely damaged her reputation in the community. After Monica was sentenced, I worked to rebuild the foundation's finances and reputation. I implemented new financial controls, including requiring dual signatures for all checks and monthly audits by an independent accountant. I also established a board of directors with community leaders who could provide oversight and prevent future fraud. The foundation not only recovered from Monica's theft, but became stronger and more effective because of the improved financial management systems. Over the next 5 years, the foundation provided over $600,000 in assistance to cancer patients, helping hundreds of families afford treatments and maintain their dignity during difficult times. I also use Monica's case as an example when speaking to other nonprofit organizations about the importance of financial controls and background checks for employees and volunteers. My experience taught me that even family members can betray charitable causes if they are not properly supervised and held accountable. But I also learned that communities can come together to support important causes even after they have been damaged by criminal behavior. The donors who had been affected by Monica's theft continued to support the foundation, and many increased their contributions to help make up for the stolen money. Raymond Thompson Cancer Support Foundation became a model for other small charities looking to establish effective financial controls and prevent fraud. I proved that protecting a charitable mission sometimes requires making difficult decisions about family relationships. My choice to prosecute Monica sent a clear message that stealing from cancer patients would not be tolerated regardless of who committed the crime. Evangeline Rose Thompson demonstrated that honoring a loved one's memory requires protecting the charity established in their name, even when the threat comes from within the family. The foundation that Monica tried to destroy through her greed became stronger and more successful because of my determination to preserve Raymond's legacy. My story became an inspiration for other nonprofit founders who faced the difficult choice between family loyalty and organizational integrity. It showed that true loyalty to a charitable cause means protecting it from anyone who would exploit it for personal gain. The cancer patients who received assistance from our foundation after Monica's theft were able to focus on their treatment and recovery instead of worrying about financial survival. Monica spent 6 years in prison thinking about how her greed had not only destroyed her own life, but had also threatened the survival of cancer patients who needed help. When Monica was released from prison, she moved to another state and never contacted me again. The children she had lost custody of were raised by their father and grew up to be productive adults, despite their mother's criminal behavior. Evangeline Rose Thompson proved that charitable organizations can survive, even serious betrayals, if they have leaders who are willing to fight for their mission. The Raymond Thompson Cancer Support Foundation continues to operate today, helping cancer patients and honoring the memory of a man whose legacy was nearly destroyed by family greed. My story reminds us that some causes are more important than family relationships, and that protecting vulnerable people sometimes requires prosecuting the people closest to us.